Hello to our viewers worldwide. Welcome to CNN Student News. I'm Carl Azus. We're following up on a major battle going on right now in a city of northern Iraq. On one side, international forces led by the Iraqi military and supported by U.S. troops. On the other, ISIS terrorists who took over the city of Mosul in 2014. This is ISIS's last stronghold in Iraq, and a defeat there would be a major setback for the terrorists, though they still have territory in other parts of Iraq and in Syria. Iraqi-led troops are fighting ISIS on the streets, in neighborhoods. They're facing hidden explosives and car bombs. And caught in the crossfire, thousands of civilians from Mosul and its surrounding towns. Some have been forced to stay through the ISIS occupation. Some have been used by ISIS as human shields. Many are trying to escape Mosul and the shelling and gunfire around their homes. But as CNN's Arwa Damon personally found out, it's incredibly dangerous to move around the city for troops trying to fight their way in or anyone trying to find their way out.
The vehicle in front of us exploded. The vehicle behind us had already been targeted. We were actually physically pinned. The story is recapturing Mosul from ISIS. Going in and trying to depict that as best as we can is how we do our job. There's snipers on rooftops, and they're receiving incoming mortar fire that ISIS is shooting. Having a focus, having a reason for being there, being in that situation, mentally allows you to cope with it. If you allow your thoughts, the worst of your thoughts, to run away, if you can't control that panic, you could potentially put yourself in even more danger.
I was hearing explosions from that direction, other direction, gunfire, never stopped.
Hey, what are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know.
At 3:15, I heard a massive explosion from her direction. Live, it was black in front of me. Sent her a text message, just tell me okay. It was 45 minutes until I get the answer back. She said, yes, but the situation is bad. That 45 minutes, it was like 2 years to me.
I was actually curled up with the family who I'd met. And yes, the fighting was happening outside, but you kind of crave and cling to these moments to allow your mind to escape from it. They've been coming across quite a bit of sniper fire, gunfire, mortar rounds, rocket-propelled grenades, and of course those car bombs. The front line was the house we were in's wall. Each time we went to the door, the bullets would start pinging at it because that's how close the ISIS fighters were. It's terrifying. You run without knowing if you're going to make it.
I don't think anybody imagined the things that I was thinking about. What if and what's going to happen. Suddenly, she picked up the phone. And I said, I'm in the Humvee, I'm coming to you. And I said, that's impossible. She's coming up.
Where are you? I was like, oh my God, I can see you.
She's with me.
There's a lot of relief. There's also a great sense of appreciation for the fact that we have the luxury to leave. The soldiers, they have to go back. The civilians are still back there living this hell, living that fear that we experienced for 28 hours. That right now is their daily reality.
Compelling story. Moving from the Middle East to Southern Asia. The problem: India struggles with counterfeit money and tax evasion. It's also a country where almost all consumer transactions are made with cash. A potential fix: last week, the government said it would replace Indian currency, switching out its two largest banknotes. Those account for more than 80% of the country's rupee notes. The current ones were suddenly banned. So the complications. The country's banking infrastructure isn't good, and banks have been overwhelmed. The new notes are a different size than the old ones, so India's ATMs all have to be reset. The currency change might help solve some problems, but it's created others.
A crackdown on counterfeiters and tax evaders. At mom-and-pop stores like this one here that sell a whole range of products, there are no credit card machines. Every single transaction is in cash, and that's not unusual across the country. In fact, experts say that 90% of all transactions in India are in pure cash. So even if it's expensive jewelry, people pay in cash. And that's what the government wants to change. One reason is taxation. Only 3% of Indians actually pay income tax. That's in part because the tax barrier is high, but also because it's difficult to keep track of so many off-the-books cash payments. The government's main target is rich tax evaders, people literally stockpiling hidden cash. But this week, the middle class is feeling the pain as well. We walked around a few banks in New Delhi. Long queues of men and women lined up to replace old money with new. For now, they can only exchange the equivalent of 4,000 rupees, just $60.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, with the help of Vice President-elect Mike Pence, is hiring a team to help run the government. Republican Party Chairman Reince Priebus was chosen to be White House Chief of Staff. He'll help with everything from scheduling to managing information and communications in the executive branch. Working alongside him, Stephen Bannon, who will serve as Chief Strategist and Senior Counselor. Bannon was the executive chairman of Breitbart News, a conservative news and opinion website that sometimes featured controversial content. Neither of these appointments requires Senate approval, but other cabinet positions will, so President-elect Trump will be looking to fill those in the months ahead. It's all part of the transition from one presidential administration to another.
In a post-9/11 world, the importance of effective transition planning is not only about whether the president is going to get done what they promised on the campaign trail, but it's fundamentally about whether they're going to keep our country safe.
There's a grand opportunity with a new administration. It's a new start. It's also a time of some vulnerability. If it's not done well, the country literally is vulnerable from a security standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, and of course the new administration is highly vulnerable.
The most important work that has to be done is the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Advisor. That really helps to tell our allies and our adversaries, as well as the American people, that the wheels are moving and that the handoff of power is going to be stable. It also helps to get those individuals who will be in charge of our military, our law enforcement, important government services, our economy. It gets them in the role soon so they can start working.
In today's time, it's not a safe world. It's not a peace world.
No matter how much planning you do, something will happen that you won't have expected. It'll be a policy change. It could be national events, international events that will cause you to have to refocus your agenda.
You can't line up North Korea and Russia to say, you can only cause me trouble this time because I'm dealing with the other folks.
You can just imagine if 9/11 had been 2/11 or 1/21/11, how important it would have been to have a president and his national security close quarters people in place, really briefed, having had some prior exposure to the process and the other people they would be in that room with if and when something awful like that happened.
If radio, baseball, mascots, and polka all have halls of fame, why shouldn't toys? Since 1998, the National Toy Hall of Fame has recognized playthings that have been popular for a while and inspired people to play creatively. That's how Bubble Wrap could be nominated, alongside Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Transformers when they were just toys, Nerf balls, Uno. But the actual inductees this year included something enjoyed for generations, the swing. Some will question if a swing's really a toy. It's certainly seen its ups and downs over the years. It's had highs and lows. The hall probably went back and forth over the decision. Maybe the swing was an underdog. But it's always kept people in suspense, and it can't be beat for just hanging out. Swing and a miss! I'm Carl Azus for CNN Student News.